Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Mema obi biara kwa ba eba PENDREAM TV. Say ena your first time oha, subscribe to channel na click the notification bell no so. Like ejumadi na share ma afofron so ensa enkabi. Somewhere last week Nana Addo Akufo-Addo ave admit say Ghana problems no enya ade a obetimi asolve. Name we expected the next MPP government obebano say over problems no. Na say ina yebeka ya emrebe drama yebisa Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I say what will you do differently when you are being voted for as president? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia echeche nemum so obey no business then why don't you do it under this government? And I say under President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia echeche say ono ne ideas and since enyo no na ewo government muntino and enyo no na president nitino. He cannot implement his ideas, but he is only implementing the ideas of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. And Kwesi Pratt reacted to Sa and Sensemi Ede and Sembi Atudra me person become when yakoti and Sema Kwesi Pratt and send a beacon subscribe to channel and click the notification bell no so like it Jumadi na share ma afo from so and Sa and Kabi. Yentie send Kwesi Pratt and Sem.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes, sir. You see, I think public discussion is becoming increasingly difficult for some of us. Because I believe that public discussion ought to be about principle and it ought to be about what our people want. Not just in terms of their immediate needs, but in terms of the kind of society our people want to build and live in, So there's a visionary aspect to public discussion that I don't see very much of these days, and that's worrying. Now, to start with, I like to say that political parties are not private institutions. Political parties are public organizations. They do not belong to those who have membership cards.
Yeah.
But these organizations that are seeking power, they are seeking authority to manage national resources. When a political party gets into power, what it manages is the oil that belongs to all of us, is the gas that belongs to all of us, is the diamonds that belong to all of us, is the gold that belongs to all of us, and so on. So whether or not you're a member of a political party is immaterial.
Yeah.
You have a duty to look into what is happening in all the political parties. You have a stake in every political party to the extent that they are public institutions. And I think that this is a very, very important part. Because a lot of times, the argument just tends to be us and them.
Yeah.
Me and you, and so on. I think that spirit loses the essence of political parties and so on. I think it's important that we look in that direction. Now, having said this, yesterday, I saw two things, one of which was exceedingly shocking for me. In the morning, I read a statement which had been put out by Boakye Ejaku, one of the 10 contestants in the so-called Super Delegates Conference of the New Patriotic Party. And he made a very simple point, that let's stick to agreed rules. What did we agree before we went into this contest? We should stick to it. It should not be changed in the middle just for convenience. And that if it is changed, then I will have no part of it.
Yeah.
Then by the afternoon, I saw a statement signed by Professor Michael Kwesi saying that Boakye Jaku has withdrawn from the race. How?
Yeah.
How? Boakye Jaku did not withdraw from the race. He simply said, let's follow agreed guidelines and I will offer myself to contest. If you change the guidelines, however, I will not be part of it. So I thought that it was strange that the party put out a statement announcing the withdrawal of Boakye Jaku when he had not withdrawn, when he was only insisting on what he thought was right to be done. Be that as it may, fine. They pushed him out of the race. He did not leave, he was pushed out of this race. So he's been pushed out. Now, after Saturday, something very interesting also happened. The party put out a statement in which it announced that 5 or 4 people were to appear before the disciplinary committee. So I checked the list, and I followed. And it does appear that Kennedy Japan was called before the disciplinary committee because of his outbursts, in the course of the voting, when he actually threatened to give the president and vice president showdowns. So it appears that is why he appeared before the disciplinary committee. The rest appeared to be associates or members of the Lȧndහැ Martin campaign team. And they included Hobson Addo, who had said, like lawyer has said on this panel, that money played a crucial role in determining the outcome of the elections. I had even said that his side also paid monies, except that his side paid monies to facilitate transportation of voters and so on. Then I looked at all the complaints that had come out of this superdelegates conference. One was assault, aggression towards agents. One agent almost lost his eye. One agent is still under treatment.
Yeah.
So some agents actually had to flee. And I was wondering, so those who perpetuated this violence, where were they when people were being invited to the disciplinary committee? It didn't matter. You could poke anybody's eye. You could beat people to pulp. You could do any of those aggressive things. You didn't qualify to go before the disciplinary committee. And I was very deeply worried by this development. Now, subsequently, the party put out a statement which said that, well, if you have evidence of somebody who beat somebody and somebody who violated the rules, bring it and then we'll look at it. Pushing the onus on victims. But when it came to threatening to have a showdown with the president and vice president, the president and the vice president were not called upon to provide evidence, to make complaints. When it came to the allegation that money played a great part in organizing this delegates conference, individuals were not called upon to appear before the disciplinary committee, and to provide the evidence and so on. I mean, this selective unfairness is striking. The selective unfairness is so very striking. And I was worried about it. But you see, in the run-up to the elections, and since the election, an effort is being made to paint some of the aspirants as being very, very, very unpatriotic and traitors. I'm sure you've all heard. And yesterday, I heard somebody from the Bawumia camp argue very strongly that all the others are not defending the party. They are all going out claiming that the party has not done well and that the economic situation is dire and so on. And therefore they are traitors and therefore they should not be voted for. Then I remembered on Saturday what the president himself said. The president told us on Saturday, the day of the Super Delegates Conference, that he is the first to admit that things have not gone well. Things are very, very bad. And that we should wait for the next president to solve the problem. So is the president disloyal to himself? Is His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo disloyal to the New Patriotic Party? Because he's saying exactly what these contestants have said, for which they are being accused of betrayal. Put His Excellency the President aside. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I heard him say very clearly, he was asked what he was going to do differently if he came to power, having been chairperson of the economic management team and so on. Listen to his response. He says, as a vice president, he cannot implement his own vision. And that is implementing the vision of the president. And that if he is elected, he will have an opportunity to push his own agenda and his vision. What does that mean? He has completely distanced himself from the policy failures of this administration. Completely. He says, if you elect me, I will come with my own vision. The implication is that the vision which is being followed today is not his. And the implication is that he has something about this vision which makes him uncomfortable. So all of the candidates are saying the same thing. The president himself is saying the same thing. You understand? Now, the other dimension for me is simply this. Is the NPP going to go into this election to face the people of Ghana with the truth? And if the NPP is going to go into this election to face the people of Ghana with the truth simply is that the economy has collapsed. So any serious candidate who wants to be seen as realistic, who wants to be seen as somebody who can deal with the problem, must first and foremost admit that the problem is there. Because if you come and tell us that everything is working fine, everything is okay and so on, who is going to follow you? Who is going to vote for you? So I think it's the most unfair criticism of the other contestants in the race. In any case, today, who can say that things are fine? Within the last 2 years, prices of food items have shot up by 300%. Is that okay? Should the contestant be saying that that is good? I doubt. In any case, inflation now is above 40%. Should the contestant be saying that it is okay that inflation is above 40%? The cedi, which used to exchange at 4.2 to $1, is now exchanging at nearly 12 to $1. Should the contestants come and deceive themselves and deceive the rest of us that everything is okay? Look, December 7th, 2024 is not that far, just around the corner. And what I was going to say, our leaders, I'm not so sure they are. What these political contestants tell us must reflect reality. Let not these political contestants feel that we are all idiots and that they can come and tell us anything and then we'll follow them and vote for them and so on. It is not like that. Look, there's the story of that British politician. I don't know if you guys heard that story. who went to a village to campaign. And he mounted a rostrum and told the villagers that if elected, he will build a bridge for them. And one small child in the crowd got up and said, but sir, there's no river here. Why are you going to put your bridge? He said, don't worry, I'll add the river. That is not what we want to hear. Please don't add rivers to bridges.
Thank you. Oh, Kwesi.
Well, I mean, the first thing I like to say is that the right to protest is unfettered in the 1992 Constitution. Although fetters were introduced by the first administration after 1992, that right remains still unfettered in the 1992 Constitution. And nobody should be allowed to prevent free expression, which includes demonstrations and so on. Nobody should be allowed to prevent it. The second thing I like to say, and maybe that is by way of advice, people don't pour onto the streets just because you have a just cause.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm talking about. People don't just pour into the street because you have a just cause. There's a method for mobilization.
Yeah.
There are tactics and techniques which needs to be used, and it has to be done well. It's back-breaking work.
Yeah.
To get successful demonstrations is back-breaking work. It's day and night, no rest. You understand?
Yeah.
So when I see people who say they are organizing protests, and I see them walking about in tie and coat, I say, God bless them.
Thank you very much.
PENDREAM TV ase. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, I PENDREAM TV.